Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, and I've got another random review for you. A film that I just watched on Netflix, and it's one I've been meaning to see because I have seen it pop up so many times on horror fan pages on Facebook, and I haven't seen it yet. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. Saw it was on Netflix somewhat of a while ago, but never got around to seeing it. That is the 2016 South Korean film Train to Busan. And it is a zombie film, action horror zombie film. And I have to say, this has got to be one of, if not the best zombie movie to come out in I don't know how many years. This movie really is the movie that World War Z should have been. Because I did see a lot of World War Z in here, especially how, like what they did with the zombies. It was directed by Yoon Sang Hao. Probably going to butcher all these names. But he had previously done a film from 2011 called The Crucible. No, not the Daniel Day-Lewis film. And there was a movie that came out this year in South Korea, actually last month, July 15th, called Peninsula, which it was supposed to play at the Cannes Festival, but COVID canceled that. It's a standalone sequel to Train to Busan. It even says Train to Busan presents Peninsula, which I will definitely check out now. There was an animated prequel called Seoul Station, or Seoul Station, Seoul, directed by the same director. And it stars Gong Yoo, Ma Dong Suk, Jung Yoo Bi, Kim Soo-an, Kim Yui Sung, Choi Woo Shik, and An Soo Hee. If I got even one of those names right, I'll be happy. Made on a budget of 8.5 million, made 98.5. And this was, I'm probably going to catch a lot of shit for this, but this is how I feel. Zombie films, which I love, don't get me wrong, I fucking love zombie movies. I always have. I even have zombies on my arm. They're kind of like slasher films, which I also love, don't get me wrong, where they're fun and entertaining. We watch slashers for the kills, we watch zombies for zombie carnage. But very rarely do you get a zombie movie that's also just a very good movie, like a good movie in general. I could say 28 Days Later is a good movie. I could say Dawn of the Dead. Both, actually, are good movies. Night of the Living Dead, good movie. But there are some that are just a wreck. For a found footage zombie movie, that's pretty damn good too. But when you look at the slew of zombie films that have come out around 2010, probably between 2005 and 2013, 14, or whatever. One, there's a fuckload of them. A lot of them are shit, and a lot of them, even if they are good, they're mostly just entertaining. A lot of zombie movies are really just entertaining. But and very few would I say are actually really just well-made good films. This is one of them. This movie has everything going for it. It's got great performances, wonderful pacing. I mean, it's an hour 57 minutes, so pretty much 2 hours. So wonderful pacing, great usage of sets and setting. A great look for the zombies. I mean, it's all practical. The only time they use CGI would be when they do like the World War Z stuff, like By that, I mean, these zombies will, like, climb on top of each other, or, like, during, like, a zombie stampede, if some trips or falls, they all just barrel over them. Or when they break through, like, an upper story window, they all fall. That's all CGI, but it looks great. Um, Very emotionally impactful. I mean, think of the opening to 28 Weeks Later, when, the farmhouse gets attacked. The guy is pretty much just like, has a choice to save his wife or leave. He just shuts the door and gets out. And he looks and he sees his wife get attacked in the window and he just runs. There's a lot of emotionally impactful stuff in this. And it didn't feel cheesy. It didn't feel overdone. Like, it didn't feel like just a heartstring pulling scene. If this was a movie that didn't really have much going for it, then it would be like, okay, they're putting all their effort into really tugging at your heartstrings. But these are scenes that actually work. I love the idea of a zombie movie on a train. To my knowledge, of all the ones I've seen or heard of, I can't really think of any. And most of this movie does take place on a train. And the story is about as simple as you can get. I mean, this really is a very simple story that just opens right the fuck up with. I mean, this movie has a big scope to it as well as far as filmmaking. I mean, it almost feels. I might catch hell for this too, but it almost feels like a South Korean zombie version of a Christopher Nolan film. I do think that. You have this recently divorced, I'm guessing he's divorced, father. He's a fund manager, he's a workaholic. It's his young daughter. His daughter, I think, is like 6 or 7. And it's her birthday, and her birthday wish is for the next day, get on the train to Busan to see her mother. And, he keeps saying with work, he can't do it. We'll do it next time. She keeps saying, you always say next time. And the little girl did a wonderful job. She was a great actress in this. A lot of times with foreign films, since I don't understand the language, I can't really tell if they're overacting or not. But this is kind of like Audition, where I can just tell that, these are great performances. Yes, I know Audition is Japanese. Because I know someone's going to compare to the Japanese. Yeah, I know it's Japanese. She did a great job. And there's the whole thing where the young girl cares for other people and tries to be nice and sweet and help other people, whereas the dad is more just look out for yourself. So he decides to take her to Busan, which actually the opening of the film is there's like this biological plant or whatever, and it's sort of like a blockade, and this guy with livestock is trying to get in or out. These hazmat guys let him through. And then we get this cool scene of a deer, like the camera pans over, there's this deer, like dead on the road, but then it like stands up, corrects its neck, and its eyes are all milky. We get the idea this plant is where this virus comes from, which is another thing. I've been meaning to make a video about why infected or viral zombies are still zombies. They're just different kinds. Because this is very much a zombie film. So is 28 Days Later. Even Zombieland. It's called Zombieland, and it's an infection. The Dawn of the Dead remake. Infection. Of course, it kills you first. And I know a lot of people don't consider infections to be zombies, but I do, and this is one of the best I've seen. So we get the idea that this virus came from this plant. And like most zombie movies, it just starts right up. Everyone gets on this train. We're introduced to like different groups of people. There's like this elderly couple of sisters. This one couple with like this tough guy and his pregnant wife. Team of young, I'm guessing high school baseball players. This one cheerleader. This one asshole in a hurry. Kind of like Bronson. I can't think of his name. The guy that plays Balky on Perfect Strangers. His character from The Langoliers. Like this sort of in a hurry, we got to get to where we're going, businessman. And a couple of the ushers. I think is what you call them, ushers. And then right as the train is about to be taken off, we see one of the guys that boards the train like get attacked. We get the idea that something's going on. This one woman sneaks on the train. She has a bite. Then this homeless guy also sneaks on. And that's how the virus gets on the train. Is she's been bitten. She stumbles out into this one car. And carnage just breaks out. I mean, people start getting bitten. And then that's pretty much the rest of the movie is, you know, these people trying to survive in this train while these cars keep getting full of zombies. Like, it starts in one car and just keeps working its way closer to the people. In fact, at one point, when more and more are getting infected, we just see this, like, stampede. I think one, like, falls, so it's like they're all piling on top of each other, almost like they're steamrolling through the aisle. And it's CGI, but I think it looks great. Of course, our lead finds out, because he's calling people, saying like, hey, when you get to this, I think it's like Daejeon or something, we get to that station, don't go to the main square, because you're going to be quarantined, go here, and I'll have people come get you. So we're mostly on this train, and I also like how there's this one interesting part. Well, first, because we see the guy and his pregnant wife are at the bathrooms, and when the lead guy gets his daughter back with the group, he shuts the door and like wouldn't let them through because, you know, they're being chased. He thought they were infected, but he also has a, you know, look out for oneself attitude. So they kind of have like a bickering, like he keeps calling him an asshole. Even talks shit about him to his young daughter, which his pregnant wife doesn't like. But once everyone gets in the car, because like the doors that lead to the other cars are out of glass, or made out of glass. So the lead guy is like, they didn't start attacking until they saw us. And I like this idea where the pregnant wife takes a bottle of water, splashes it on the door, and sticks newspapers. And when she does that, the zombies kind of give up. They kind of just like stand there all confused. I like that idea. They get to the station, and of course, it's a bust. There's zombies everywhere. A lot of them are attacked and killed. I mean, very little managed to get back on the train. They're all being chased, and like the lead guy and the tough guy are holding this door shut, blocking the zombies, while everyone else tries to get on this other, I think back on the train. And that's when you get this great scene where, like, I think it's the second or third story window breaks and all these zombies just start, like, falling right out of it. And of course, they fall, they're pretty much dead. They don't feel anything, they just get back up. In fact, there's one, but I like how their bodies stay fucked up, but it's like they don't realize it. Like, this one lands in such a way that his arm is, like, bent all the way back and he's still, like, chasing people. But eventually, you know, a group of people, like one of the baseball players makes it, the cheerleader, they're like a couple. The tough guy, his wife, the lead guy, his daughter, like the asshole businessman, one of the ushers or whatever, and several passengers. Oh, and the two elderly sisters. But they're all separated. The main group is at car 15, and baseball kid, lead guy, tough guy are in car 9, and in car 13, in one of the bathrooms is pregnant wife, young girl, elderly lady, and the homeless guy. So that's when they decide they're gonna get to them, save them, then get with the rest of the group. And this was an interesting thing too, because they get to the first car ahead, they start fighting, you know, they take themselves up, bat, grab whatever they need, but then they go through a tunnel, and when they go through a tunnel, the zombies like freeze. They just kind of look all around, they don't move, they only react to sound. Kind of like the nurses from Silent Hill. Well, if you watch the movies, the second Silent Hill, which sucks. So once they figure that out, they do these cool things, like when the lead guy looks up when the next tunnel is, he gets the tough guy's cell phone, so they get like partway through the car, slides the cell phone down, then calls it, so when they all run towards it, they can leave. And then, of course, you have sort of like the George Romero zombie movie trope where people are their own downfall. Because car 15 that has the main group of people, the cheerleaders got a text and she's like, hey, there's people that saved other people, now they're coming to this car. And this guy, also kind of like the Mist, but he's not like a religious fanatic, gets them all convinced that they could be infected, so we gotta, you know, find a way to get the door impenetrable so they can't get in. So they got one last car to go through, and when they go through the tunnel, they realize they can crawl across the luggage racks. So they're all crawling through the luggage racks. When they come to a bag, they can like throw it behind them and the zombies will go there. Yeah, I like this idea. It's doing something different. I mean, we've seen movies where people find ways to sneak around zombies or, you know, stuff like that. But I like how this was handled. And plus the fight scenes, I like, kind of like Old Boy when he's just, you know, the camera's just here and it almost looks like a side scroller, just like, you know, zombies coming, they're punching them, throwing them out of the way. So the action is well done, well choreographed. Again, the camera work is excellent. The cinematography is great. Lots of like down low, upward angles of zombies like kind of like charging down the aisles. Like all that. And then, you know, a lot of the emotional stuff is they get to the final car, they realize they can't get in. People won't let them in. And the tough guy is the only one that's holding the door shut. And there's like heads and hands in the way. He gets bit. I'm going to say spoilers here, but if you're a zombie fan, definitely check out Train to Busan. I know a lot of people talk about Overlord as well as being one of the best, and it's an action film. I haven't seen that one yet. I'll give that a look too. Because I do have a top 10 zombie list that I'm going to make into a video, but I wanted to see this first because I've heard great things. If it's not in my top 10, it's definitely an honorable mention. But spoilers here. He gets bit, and he tells everyone else, you know, the lead guy, his pregnant wife, you know, he tells them, like, you take care of her. And there's a thing established earlier where they call the baby Sleepy because they haven't come up with a name yet. So when the lead guy takes the pregnant wife to leave, he says something like, you know, our baby's name, got it? Like, remember? And I also like he just lets the door open and he picks one dead body up to like hold him back, but we see him turning. Like we see his eyes go white. We see him kind of thrashing and fighting it. I liked that. It didn't seem like an emotional, like an overly emotional heartstring moment. It felt genuine. They do break through the door to the car where the group of people is, and of course the one asshole guy gets everyone riled up like they need to leave, they're infected, they're not welcome here. So the cheerleader decides to stick with the baseball kid, leave with them to the next car, and the elderly lady sees her elderly sister, whoever was with that sort of rescue group, sees her sister be attacked, and then sees her through the window door into the next car as a zombie. And what I got from it was she's kind of disgusted with, you know, banishing people who risk their lives to save others. So she just opens the door, kills herself, and lets everyone else in that room get killed. So good call for the cheerleader. And that's when the lead guy gets a call from his whoever. It says that Busan is the safest place. It's the #1 in defense. They make it to this other place, which I think is like the last stop before Busan. They have to stop the train and get off. And of course the asshole guy and, I'm guessing, an usher, they hid in the bathroom so they lived during that woman's sacrifice. And this guy's meant to just be despicable, because he tells the guy he's with that it's safe. So when he opens the door, he pushes him out so the zombies attack him and he gets to leave. Or it was the captain. Whoever wears the light blue shit. And so they're looking, they get off the train. Of course, they're in between these two trains. They're trying to find a way through. And I like how all the windows are, they're walking past all these windows of zombies beating on the windows. There's this speeding, flaming train engine coming, which hits the train they were on and causes one of the cars to fall, you know, like this. And they're all like underneath it, except for the baseball couple. They're trying to find a way across. The asshole guy throws the cheerleader out of the way or towards the zombie. She gets bitten. So the baseball kid is holding her, and of course she bites him. And I like this shot because we see him back too. Like we see half of him because he's leaning against the wall. And the camera's in the aisle and just keeps panning back as he just like sobs as she's biting his neck. I like that shot. And this movie's very intense too, because while the train car's leaning against the other train, we got the lead guy, his daughter, pregnant wife, who's now widowed, and the homeless guy. So this train car is increasingly falling on them bit by bit, and on all these windows are these zombies like trying to break through and get to him. Lead guy finds like a way under, like to go under and out. But then the further down windows start busting out and zombies are coming out. And of course, every time the car shifts, it causes them so they can't get through, and the lead guy has to move shit. Eventually, the pregnant wife and the daughter are able to get through, and the homeless guy holds him back. But it's sort of like a faraway shot, so we see him holding back these zombies while windows in the foreground are breaking with zombies running towards him. So he's surrounded. Also, the establishing shots remind me of if, like, Christopher Nolan did 28 Days Later, because this whole area is completely abandoned. Like, it shows the tracks in the city. There's smoke and flames. You know they had to do a lot of work to make it look abandoned. And I think they did a great job. But also, just like this high up, like, panning shot. Aerial view, like angled aerial view, and the score is amazing. It's a little bit of everything. You know, you got like the action music, you get the dread, like when they pull into the city that's just deserted. It's just like that. Love the score. Get like that fast-paced drum beat, kind of like tribal drums, kind of action music. Love the score. And of course, the asshole guy's being chased by zombies, and he keeps throwing people in his way. Eventually, we end up on this one engine. Or eventually he does get bit, and we have the lead guy, pregnant wife, and the daughter on this lone engine that is supposed to get to Busan. The one asshole guy is there, but he's already infected. And I like this scene too because he looks infected. You can tell he's confused, but he hasn't realized it yet. He talks about wanting to go home. And that's when he tells him he's infected. And he's like, I can't be. And his head goes down. And he's sobbing. Then he stops and he picks his head up. So we see like the moment of turning. Which I know the fat lady on Dawn of the Dead, we sort of saw the same thing. It was kind of like that. Or the DJ on the first Day of the Dead remake, but I thought this was done better. So we get the fight on the train, or the engine car between the lead guy and him. He gets bitten, unfortunately. So he shows his daughter and the wife where the brake is on the engine for when they get to Busan. And I like this scene as well. It is emotional. It didn't feel over the top. It felt genuine. He walks out to the back of the engine. We see his eyes are white. He's covered in veins. And he has flashbacks of when his daughter was first born. And it's all slow motion, and he starts to smile. And then I like how they did this. It's just the shadow on the ground of him standing there, and we just see him step off and kill himself. I like how that was stylized because the movie did make him up from being this sort of selfish workaholic to being, a guy that's willing to save people. They didn't ruin it by showing how he got killed and him getting mangled all over the ground. So I like how that was stylized. And then the final shot is them arriving, and they walk through this tunnel, and we see these two military snipers seeing them approach, and they're said, get a visual for infected, it's too dark, they can't tell, they're ordered to shoot them. So just as he's about to shoot him and the music builds up, they hear singing. The young girl is singing and they can hear it echoing through the tunnel. And the song she's singing is a song she sang in school a while ago. The dad was watching it, I think, on his phone or on his camera at home earlier. She was singing the song at school. She messed up. Everyone was laughing at her. And then during the film, like later on, during all the zombie stuff, she was telling her dad, the lead guy, that she messed up because he wasn't there. And she sang it for him. So she's singing the song, and she's sobbing. She's bawling her eyes out while singing. And again, the girl did a wonderful job as a young actress. They hear her singing. They know they're not infected. Army swarms towards them to help them. Movie ends. I just think this movie has everything going for it. It's not just a zombie movie or an action-packed zombie movie. It's well made. I mean, great acting, great use of sets and setting. The score, which I didn't mention until much later, the score is excellent. Every piece fits every scene perfectly. Great pacing. The action is well executed, choreographed, and shot. The cinematography, a lot of the shots, the atmosphere. When we get like the aerial exterior shots, we really get the idea that this country is getting more and more devastated and just gone. No one around. Completely, these people are isolated. I really think this is the movie that World War Z should have been, and the fact that they did do stuff like zombies. Also, like while they're on the train car or the engine car at the end, like before they find, or like before they find the asshole in the cabin, I guess, in the where you drive it. This one zombie is chasing after it. And he grabs a hold of it and he falls, but he's holding on. And then this other one grabs a hold of him. This other one grabs a hold of the train, and eventually you have like this blanket of zombies being dragged. Like they just grab a hold of one and they just hold on. So more and more zombies are building up. Then eventually one can stand up and run across them to get on the car. I love that idea, and I love the shot of when he stomps on their hands enough so that they break off. We get this down low shot of them, and it's like they stop, and the zombies behind them are like hurling and rolling over them. This has got to be one of the best zombie films I've seen in a long, long time. I can't remember the last one. And I'm not going to say Zombieland because totally different movie. Is Zombieland fun and entertaining? Absolutely. But I don't really find the two comparable. But I was really impressed by this movie. I do think it lives up to the hype. Again, just goes to show that people in other countries are making better movies because you have filmmakers with a vision and not wanting to make a product. I think that's why I still see World War Z as just, hey, get Brad Pitt, make it an action movie, pump out this product. This is what I wish we got as World War Z. And I can't wait for Peninsula to actually get a wider release so I can see it. But this has gone on for very long. So Train to Busan, I could say I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. Thank you for watching.